These two commissions are part of the New Voices project, and this was spearheaded by San Francisco Symphony, New World Symphony, and the publishing company Boozy and Hawks. And this is the first time they've tried out this program. But I guess they wanted an opportunity to allow young composers to write for orchestra, to get that experience, to learn more about the publishing world, and just to sort of get this professional development that you don't necessarily always get in conservatories. Titles usually come very late in the process for me. In fact, the publisher told me, you have until 3 o'clock to give this piece a title, because I kept sort of humming and hawing and saying like, oh, maybe we can send the music and I can send them stickers with the title and we'll put it on. They said, I don't know if that's a good idea. That maybe doesn't look so professional. So it's not that I don't think about it, and I think that titles are quite important because they're sort of the first way into the piece for an audience. So, you know, an audience is probably not familiar with me or my music or my history, but a title is sort of a hint as to where things go. And I try to find titles that are not too explicit to say, you know, this is what this piece means, this is what you have to be listening for, but something that's hopefully suggestive and that will give people a way in. So to me, Lineage seemed like a fitting title, and it related to some of the things I was thinking about, namely the idea of where things come from, what stays the same, what changes. This is something I think about on multiple levels. I think about it in terms of the form of a composition, within the unit of a composition itself, how ideas evolve, what keeps coming back, what is changing. I think about it in my music, you know, from the time I started composition to the time to the current time, how I'm evolving as an artist, what's happening with my compositional voice. I think it's interesting to think about in terms of music history. You know, some composers say, you know, we have to throw everything away and reinvent the wheel every time. But I think for listeners, you know, I think you do see these threads that run through things that sort of guide our ear, guide our musical experience, but also things that are evolving and shifting and introducing new ideas. So that was all present. And I think maybe another sort of sub-level to the piece, when I was writing it, this was the year following my grandmother passing away, and I was thinking a lot about sort of how distant maybe certain generations have become from their culture. That for me, when I think about my Ukrainian roots at least, it's sort of a memory of a memory. You know, I know these stories through her stories, but it's not something I've directly experienced. And so you have this interesting distance, and I thought that in certain parts of the piece I wanted to reflect on this by kind of creating a faux folk music, and maybe that sounds not very genuine, but in fact I saw it as a way of sort of re-engaging with culture, you know, using my imagination to sort of connect in a way. And I know it's not going to be authentic. I'm not trying to write Ukrainian music or any cultural music per se, but this idea of sort of reinvigorating what that might mean.